Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now, I've just got a message from a person that bought one of my pendants and mentioned that it gives you a calming effect. And I wanted to share it in this video and explain why these pendants, these devices I make that are using twisted wire cut to a particular measurement, which we call a cubit measurement, why it creates this calming effect. Because not only with her comment, but I get that regularly in regards to those products. Now, we know how busy and how hectic life can be and how stressful it can be. And stress is quite often a manifestation of energy that is unstructured, chaotic. And a lot of the times this reality is unfolded that way because it's trying to tear you down, lower your vibration. And usually that's come about just through a misunderstanding of how powerful we are and how we actually use our creation capability. So what's actually happening is really there's a sabotaging effect of our own creation because we don't know how to use it. We didn't come into this life with an instruction manual and knowing how to use it and knowing your powers and on that instruction manual, it would start off with where you place your attention and how you'll use your intention will give you and create everything that your heart desires. And a lot of the times when we become awakened as adults, quite a lot of damage has already happened, right? We've having to deal with trauma in our past, and how do we deal with that? And we carry that with us into the now, which then becomes our future. It's the stepping stones of the future. So our past keeps evolving and repeating itself because we don't understand how to use our creation capability to renew and create something that our heart desires, not the thing that we don't want. So the pendant that she'd mentioned was a pendant very similar to this one. It was just the two rings on the outside. We've just had an addition of this ring in the middle where we're using the three different cubit measures. We were just using two at one point. And so why does this create a calming effect? Well, what this pendant does, and a number of the products that I create and make here at Truly Holistic, and any tensor ring to a certain degree, because they all bring something new depending on that measurement, is that they connect you to a higher aspect of yourself. Okay, that's what they all do. Okay, or the cubit measures that I use here at Truly Holistic, the activation, the gateway, and the ascension cubits. Okay, they connect you to a spectrum of frequency, not one frequency, but a spectrum of it. So it's always going to have a much more profound effect on you than some of the old cubit measures that we're just bringing through one frequency. There's an intelligence with it because it will bring through the frequencies that you need at that time. So those frequencies, because it's bringing through a spectrum of frequencies, it may use a few of those frequencies within that spectrum that you need at the time. At the same time, the next day, you may need something else, depending on your situation, depending on the environment, what's in front of you, and what space is being that you are currently in at that time. So it brings through more of an intelligence quality than just the whole thing about radionics where you just dial in a very specific frequency. There's no intelligence with that. You're just directing a frequency through. Okay, so that's why I like the fact that we can bring cubit measures that are bringing through a spectrum of frequencies. And they work together because, as I said in a video before, we've got activation, spectrum here, gateway, and then we go up to ascension, right? So it's a pathway. And what do we talk about when we become awakened? Our journey, our path right here. Okay, so it's a journey and a pathway. And they are facilitated that way, especially in that pendant there with the 3 cubit measures. Okay, and we have other pendants like this one here, which is using a rare cubit measure, which we call the infinity cubit measure for the infinity itself. So we're not only bringing the geometry of the infinity, we're bringing the actual cubit measure of what sits behind that geometry, and then the ascension cubit here. So this is quite a high-end pendant, that one. So coming back again, I keep going because I like to give you information about why this happens, because greater knowing and understanding is very important, because a lot of the times we get into creating with fear because we are uncertain. We don't have the knowing. We don't have the understanding. So it gives you a calming effect because you're connecting to an energy that exists outside this reality. As I said, this reality, a lot of the energies here its original purpose was to keep you limited, lock you into the mind, and the mind is like a cage locking you into a very small, slim spectrum of frequency, which is less than 1% of the visible spectrum, right? So when we connect to a higher aspect of ourselves that exists outside of this reality, then we have an opportunity to bring more wisdom here. So therefore greater knowing, greater understanding, and therefore allows us to create not through fear, but through love. So certainty, ease, instead of dis-ease and unrest. Okay. So unrest is connected to the mind because we get scattered, mind chatter. We get confused, uncertainty that brings through fear, which is complete opposite to feeling calm and collected. Okay. The word calm, immediately I think of the parasympathetic nervous system, the duality of the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight. Okay, and a lot of the wild animals need that. That is a necessity out in the wild, because you're always looking around, looking over your back because something could eat you, right? But luckily we're not in that situation. But what's happening is with the sympathetic nervous system is we're using that when we don't need to. We're not in that environment anymore like a wild animal. Okay? Now the parasympathetic nervous system, when it's working well, it creates a polarity or a duality to that effect. It creates composure and calmness. And that is needed more than ever right now. And these products supply that and allow that. Because when we're calm and we're composed, we make better decisions. We take better choices, which can lead a path that leads to our heart's desires instead of the opposite of that. Okay? So these products are wonderful, okay? And the cool thing about these is they create what people would call a meditative state, or some people might call mindfulness. Really, it should be called mindlessness, because when we do meditation, we're trying to silence the mind. We're getting the mind out of the way. The mind is the problem. Okay? The mind is the problem. But when we have to go and do meditation, we have to take time out of our day and effort to do it. And for a lot of people, they can't get there. Well, what about if you had something that created a similar effect to that, a calming effect? And you didn't have to have your attention. You didn't have to take time out of your day to do it. You just had to wear it around your neck, wear it as a pendant, place it in your pocket, and it's going to bring that energy through from again, as I say, a higher aspect of you that exists outside of this reality, that's already in this meditative state all the time. Okay, it's going to facilitate that here so you feel it as well. It's a feeling. Okay, it's allowing more of that loving energy, which is feeling at ease, feeling at peace, and that's what we need more than ever. And these products, it's so inexpensive, and they place all the odds in your favor because, as I say, they create a space where you make the correct decisions, you make the better choices in regards to your life, and your existence, which is a very important, very strong word, very powerful word. The word exist or existence is very connected to be. And our species, we're called human beings, right? But a majority of people don't know how to be. So they're a human doing. And out of the human doingness, you create stress. What is stress? Stress is connected to every degenerative condition there is. An illness. Okay? So connection is vital. Okay, and these products, that's the emphasis of these products. Bracelets, for example, that we create. If you're a bracelet person, that's bringing through a cubit measure, some energy through. If you're a pendant person, that. If you're somebody that likes bigger tools or rings, we have that too. Okay. Now, one thing I want to mention before we finish is, while we're here, while we're embodying as the human, as I say, as the human, with our duality eyes, seeing this external world here, external world, these are within a light spectrum, less than 1% of all light, okay? Less than 1%. So often when we try to fix things, we try and fix it at that level as the human, being orientated with the mind, because the mind is with the human. Conscious, when we go into our higher aspects of self, they don't know about mindfulness. That it's nothing to do with the mind, it's consciousness. Okay? Now, sadly, here is the human. When we feel like we need to fix it here, we use the knowledge that we know at this point that is being controlled or limited by the mind to try and fix with less than 1% of the picture. Okay? Now, especially if you're somebody that abides to the rule that everything I know comes from what I see. Okay? Obviously, when we become awakened, we get into spirituality and consciousness, realize there's a lot more to what other than what we can see, right? In the unseen. Now, that's why we make products like this. That's why we do meditation. That's why we get into consciousness. Because we create and hold a space for consciousness to come through, a connection to consciousness. Not a disconnect to consciousness and a connection to the mind, but a connection to consciousness. Which means we connect to our soul. Okay? Now, science, when they say DNA is the connection between the human and the beingness that we're talking about, beingness being consciousness. Now, another name for DNA is the soul. Okay? And another name for soul is consciousness. It's the part of your consciousness that is interfacing with you as the human, having an experience here. So when we create and hold space, we connect to our soul. We connect to our higher selves that see a bigger picture of what's going on, more knowledge, more knowing, more understanding, to then come in and fix it for us. Okay? Because if we're here at the human, we think, oh, it could be that, maybe that, oh, that person's saying that, but then that person's saying that. We lose our way by doing. When really healing is more about being. It's about creating and holding a space. So therefore, your higher aspects of you come in and do the job for you. So that's why when we do sessions here at Treaty Holistic, we emphasize connection. And it's not about me connecting my energy to you as the healer to the client. It's just facilitating your consciousness, your light, your energy back to you. Okay? And when we got that happening and we can hold it there, then miracles can happen. Okay? When we're connected like that, then we use our creation capabilities to use them constructively, not destructively. Okay? So we create an environment where we just be, we surrender. Okay? We surrender, we let go of needing to control everything. Okay? We trust in the process instead of thinking we need to control everything to the nth degree. And these products place all the odds in your favor to enable that. Products like this, my bracelet I'm wearing, a number of other products we have at Treaty Holistic. So go and check them out. And I really want to, it really spurred a moment for me when I got that rapport from that person that bought the pendant that said it was a calming effect. And I really wanted to share that with you and explain to you, because they are wonderful products and they will really transform your life, transform mine. Till next time.